in democratizing AI, I think the important thing is that AI must make a difference to the lives of citizens across the world. How it improves learning outcomes, how it improves health outcomes, how it radically transforms nutritional standards, and also the key fact that AI should not end up creating inequality around the world between the haves and have-nots. AI should actually democratize in a manner where computing power is available to the citizens. And especially for a country like India, which has 1.5 billion people with digital identity, which is going to throw up so much of enormous data to the rest of the world, it's important that we are able to use the power of AI to really technologically leapfrog, but do it in a very sustainable manner.
We'll talk about sustainability, which also prompts me to ask you, or rather forces me to ask you this question that we've all been having almost every second day. We're having a conversation around massive layoffs, which brings me to whether or not AI is a job enabler, can be a job enabler, or is a job disruptor. To make it a job enabler and actually get to that point, how far are we at?
So, there's no technology. I mean, you've had technology disruption several times in the history of the world, but this is a fundamental disruption across sectors. So make no mistake, jobs are going to be lost. Jobs are going to be lost, but new jobs are going to be created, and completely new jobs, and therefore we really need to equip our citizens for the new kind of jobs which will arise. You need to upgrade your skill, but you need to create new skills. I mean, there's a huge shortage of data scientists, there's a huge shortage of machine learners, there's a huge shortage of product engineers, and I think we need to completely reorient our academic curriculum across all our engineering colleges, but more so ensure that AI learning begins from the schools. AI is a fundamental transformation which is going to take place.
And these kind of conversations being held in India with the kind of representation we're going to see, the attendance we're going to see, do you think plays a huge role in taking that story forward? And more than that, what could be the biggest takeaway from, let's say, the AI summit that's taking place here? Greater participation, better intent, or just about real execution?
So it's a huge opportunity, in India, firstly to host it to this scale and size, to get some of the most biggest technological disruptors of the world to be in India. To have the founders of Gemini, to get the founders of OpenAI, to get Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, Sam Altman, investors like Vinod Khosla, all here and in this platform, also to get Google DeepMind people here, is a remarkable feature by itself. So Indians will get more and more exposed to the kind of disruption that is taking place. But it's also important to understand that a lot of AI is being driven by very powerful computing power across the world. At the end of the day, it's not those who are the first movers never win in the long run. It's the second movers which is very important, and India must play a critical role. So what India's AI mission is really doing is to provide computing power in the hands of startups and researchers. It's opened up a lot of government data through AI Kosh so that they have access to data, and India has massive amount of talent available within India. So talent, data, using computing power at low cost, and I think more than anything else, doing a lot of application layers. But India is also supporting 10 different startups to create a large language model. A great success story is what Servam has done using multilingual languages, to really technologically leapfrog. What was a disadvantage yesterday with India having many languages and dialects, today becomes an advantage, a huge advantage with Servam AI. So what you're seeing in India is technological leapfrogging of another variety, and it's also democratizing in a very big way. In the United States, what it is leading to is huge amount of inequality with, because in a country like United States, what happens is massive amount of investments are going in. So you'll create winners take all. Our objective should be that it should be spread across the society. It should make a huge impact.
So learn from their mistakes is what we should do, and is what we're doing.
And secondly, also do large language models and application layers with great sophisticated software and less computing power, which is important.
Okay, which brings me to your upcoming book. The name in itself very interesting, Smarter Than the Storm.
Yeah.
And at the heart of your book is AI and what AI can do to bring about relief when it comes to climate change. Now, how do we do that? How do we use AI to, let's say, move the story from climate panic to climate preparedness?
Yeah. So, you know, the total amount of energy that is being consumed by data centers today is more than the energy being consumed by a country like Japan. So in the days to come, what you'll see is massive amount of guzzling, because data centers, AI models all consume much more energy. A huge amount of energy is consumed. And therefore, it's important that while this energy is a fundamentally transforming energy, technology, it must be based on renewable energy. There's a need for greater renewables. There's a need for you know, the base energy of small modular reactors, but more important, that even if you have the energy, you need to upgrade your transmission, your grid, your power systems. All that must really drive the evolution of artificial intelligence. It brings in all these challenges from a common man's perspective into mind, and therefore this book says that you have a storm in the making. A massive storm in the making. It can only, I mean, it can have huge adverse climatic impact, but it's also important to use AI to actually fuel climate sustainability, and that can be only done if we are able to move in the right direction of renewables and non-fossil fuel energy. That's critical to my mind. India, for instance, today imports...
But how do you do that, Mr. Kant?
So
because
India,
you don't want to complicate the story further, right? You want to ensure that AI is being used to solve climate and not complicate it.
So, you know, one of the key things, and India is a remarkable story in that manner, for instance. Today we do about almost 260 gigawatt of our energy from non-fossil fuel. The challenge today is to accelerate renewables in a very big way. But merely accelerating renewables is not important. It's also to be able to use AI in your transmission, use AI in your grid, use AI in your cooling stations, which is very critical to be able to upgrade all your transmission grids using the power of AI in a very big way. And that, to my mind, is really, really critical for the future. Similarly, I feel that this is an opportunity for a country like India to technologically leapfrog on nuclear small modular reactors. We talk about some of that in this book. But the challenge for a country like India is that we need data centers. I mean, you've already had close to about you know, 90 billion worth of investments coming into India on data centers. The challenge is whether we'll be able to do it in a very sustainable manner, which will be beneficial to the society rather than burn them on the back of fossil fuel. That is really the key to India. So it's an opportunity, and India must catalyze this opportunity in a sustainable manner.
Did any point while writing this book, did you think that India should have moved faster?
No, India has done a very good job. India has done a remarkable job. It should accelerate it even further, because new technologies are going to be very disruptionist in the days to come. I mean, small modular reactors, a new technology. India needs to become a champion. But more important than that is green hydrogen, because India is climatically blessed. So you get a lot of renewable. You should be able to crack that, produce green hydrogen at the lowest cost. Today the cost of production is $4.50. By 2030 we should be able to do it in $1 per kilogram. We should be the biggest manufacturer of green hydrogen. We should be the largest exporter of green hydrogen in its liquid form, ammonia, but we should be the cheapest producer of electrolyzers in the world. So there's an opportunity for India. We already do about 12% of the grey hydrogen. We need to move it to green hydrogen. So there's a huge opportunity. No other country in the world has the climatic conditions for becoming a champion of green hydrogen and moving the world from fossil to clean technologies as India has, simply because it is blessed with energy.
And we are meeting some of the targets even before schedule.
Absolutely.
But what was the, if I can put it this way, the aha moment when you realized that AI is not just a tech story, it's as much a climate story?
Well, I mean, one of the things that struck me when we were drafting the AI paragraph for the G20 was that AI can be a guzzler of energy, but it's transformational in many ways. You have to do responsible AI. It's critical, and one of the aspects of responsible AI is not merely to be ethical, but to use it with clean energy. And that's why I said that no other country gives you the opportunity to drive clean, sustainable energy and AI together and converge AI in a scientific manner with climatic concerns as India has, and therefore smarter than the storm.
Let's bring in our guest joining us this morning, Dr. S. Arunachalam, who's an AI expert, joins us. Good morning, Dr. Arunachalam. We're going to talk about what these few days mean, the next few days. A lot of important conversations are going to unfold in the national capital. But as far as India's tech story is concerned, how does a summit as big as this, with top dignitaries from across the world, around the globe, we have tech giants, a lot of leadership roles suddenly open up in the national capital about what this conversation is going to look like in India in the next few years. Your first thoughts on what India is looking at achieving from this?
Yes, good question. Thank you. First of all, it's an honor to be here. So I think the message is very, very clear. India is hosting this summit to say that we are not just followers of AI, but we are going to be AI rule shapers. That's more clear and impactful, because if you look at the previous global AI summits in Seoul or France, most of them are focused on safety. I think this is a very unique AI summit, which under the guidance of Shri Narendra Modi ji, is focused specifically on impact. And that itself is saying that we are moving away from known as let's say IT back office, ITES provider to a leader in AI-driven products or policy, or as a matter of fact, even AI governance. So that, I think, is the clear signal which is coming out. And India, I think, is going to be a major player in terms of being a bridge between those Silicon Valley marvels and the global South. Right? I always say that while NVIDIA chips may be running AI, I think India runs AI inclusion for the world. That's the way to think about it.
Right, Dr. Arunachalam, I just want to come to you on that as well. When we talk about wider adoption and innovation in India as well, soon AI literacy is going to become a very important aspect of our lives. When we talk about AI, we usually tend to think about generative AI. What are perhaps the other aspects of AI that we also need to be focusing on?
Very good. It's an important question. And I think one of the key part of the summit is on AI for social good and AI literacy over and beyond just large language models or computer vision models. So Gen AI is going to achieve its fullest capacity this year and the next year. Next, we will be moving towards general AI and then agentic AIs, where there will be AI bots which are going to coordinate multiple complex processes on their own. Now, how do we tackle that? Okay, one vision I have in terms of AI literacy, which I think is this AI summit is setting the stage for, is bringing together three important stakeholders. Number one, the government. Number two, the industry, which are the business leaders. Number three, academia. Think about it. We are very, very unique in terms of India bringing these three important stakeholders fundamentally for building this AI literacy models. Second, the levers which are needed for this AI literacy is, I would call, access to data, access to computing power, and access to skill sets and capabilities. In terms of the amount of money which is being spent in the Western world, we provide a GPU per hour rates of 150 rupees. Okay, I could be approximately right there, which is almost 50% of the market rate which is being provided. So access to AI is something which is very, very important. Access to data set AI Kosha, which is a non-personal data set, multilingual data set, which is showing that we are involved very closely and making a sincere effort to build domestic AI capabilities. So
Yeah.
I believe
So are you
that,
saying are you saying the focus must then shift from copying or adopting, let's say, global AI models to coming up with our own? And if you're saying that should be the long-term intent here, and that's what we should really start working towards, how far are we really from reaching that point wherein we achieve this? Because we've been reading so many reports about Indian students being the largest when it comes to using ChatGPT, for instance. So that's the manner in which we're consuming these models.
I think you hit the nail on the head. See, India AI mission is the answer to your question, right? Even the recent budget, Sri Nirmala ji mentioned that it's going to be a tax haven until about 2047 for coming up with AI data centers and AI-based cloud sources. Now, the amount of investments which has gone into building indigenous capability, which is exactly what you just mentioned, is more than 10,000 crore plus for within a short period of 5 years. And almost 80 to 90 AI labs are going to come not just in metros, in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. More than 50 deep tech startups, which are all building foundational India-specific or domestic AI models, are being showcased in the Bharata Mandapam at AI India Summit. So you are 100% right. I think METI has already opened up the space for India being the bridge between those fundamental AI models and how global South, not just India, right? We are willing to share the data compute powers. We are willing to share the knowledge, right? So I think we have already made significant progress to be a power player in the global South.
And so much of what is going to transpire all through the summit is about bringing the global South and the global North together, and definitely taking the India AI story forward. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us this morning and really bringing in your perspective to the Breakfast Club.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, at the AI Impact Summit, UNICEF's Global Director of Innovation, Thomas Davin, also spoke about why the future of AI cannot be shaped by a small part of the world alone. He said most tools today are built by a narrow group of people, missing local realities and risks faced by children and young users.
But there is also a warning. With more young people using AI every day, many may not fully understand what data they are sharing online. And my colleague Siddhant caught up with Thomas Davin on the sidelines of the summit. Hear this conversation.
How widely are children using AI today? And India is home to the largest population of young people and children. How do you see this demographic dividend impacting the future of AI?
So today, about a third of under 18 years old are users, daily users of AI, globally speaking. That number fluctuates depending on country. So if you look at the UK, it's a lot more. It's 67% of UK's teenagers are using AI on a daily basis. And if you look at the UK or the US, it's maybe 40%. In India, you have maybe one of the largest cohort of users of AI, which is about 69% of the society. We don't yet have age disaggregated understanding. However, what we do know is that young people, children and young people are naturally, I wouldn't say natural digital leaders, because they not always fully understand what digital means. For instance, many of these young people don't fully understand what is data sharing, what the technology does to their data, and all of this, but they are naturally users of that technology. The other reason we think this is critical is that if we do it right, those children, those young people must help us understand how those AI solutions will be governed, should be governed, how do they protect themselves online against potential sexual abuse, exploitation, bullying, inappropriate use of data.
Does UNICEF support government calls to ban or restrict social media for children?
So we try to understand country by country what that means and whether this is data grounded. Part of our focus is this must work for children's benefit, and depending on context and depending on whether children are AI literate or not, they may be safer or not. So we talk about age appropriate use of technology. And in certain contexts, I would say by and large, by primary age, it's better to have really an adult in the room and an adult in the system. Beyond primary age, it's going to depend country by country, context by context, and AI literacy level to AI literacy level. Some countries that literacy is quite advanced, in some countries not so much, and we would say the less advanced the AI literacy and understanding of what the technology does to you as a child, the better you are if you're not online.
Now, fresh satellite images reveal new construction at China's secret nuclear sites deep inside Sichuan's mountains.
Bunkers, ventilation towers and suspected warhead facilities are raising fresh questions about Beijing's nuclear push and what this means for global security. We get you more details in this report.
In southwest China, in the misty mountain valleys of Sichuan province, new satellite imagery is spotting something Beijing does not like talking about in public. Expansion at long secret facilities tied to nuclear weapons work. The locations being watched closely include two valleys known as Zitong and Pintong. Both show recent upgrades and layers of security. Start with Zitong. Satellite images show engineers building new bunkers and reinforced ramparts inside the valley. A newly built complex appears packed with piping associated with handling hazardous material. Experts also point to an oval area inside the site. Some specialists believe Zitong is used for high explosives testing. That is the kind of work needed to fine-tune the explosive lenses that compress nuclear material inside a warhead. Now Pingtong, another valley site with heavier security. Satellite images show a double fence facility and a main structure dominated by a ventilation stack around 650 feet high. Recent imagery shows the building refurbished with new vents and heat dispersers. There are heat exchange units and air handling equipment visible. Plus, more construction underway next to the main structure. Analysts who reviewed the layout believe Pingtong could be linked to producing plutonium pits, the metal cores at the center of nuclear warheads. Some experts believe that the architecture resembles pit production facilities seen in other countries, including the US Los Alamos complex. These Sichuan sites are not new. They trace back to the 1960s when Mao Zedong launched the Third Front, shifting key defense industries inland to protect them from possible strikes by the United States or the Soviet Union. Thousands of workers and scientists helped build what one American nuclear scientist later described as an island nuclear empire carved into the mountains. After China's tensions with Washington and Moscow eased in the 1980s, many Third Front sites shrank or shut, and scientists often moved towards Myeongyang, a nearby hub linked to weapon research. But analysts say that slower period did not last. The pace of change across multiple nuclear locations picked up sharply around 2019, with Sichuan now showing some of the clearest signs of renewed activity. Pentagon's latest estimate says China had more than 600 nuclear warheads by the end of 2024 and could reach 1,000 by 2030. That would still be far below the US and Russian stockpiles, but the speed of growth is what alarms many analysts. Former US State Department official Matthew Sharp says the bigger problem is the lack of clear dialogue. Without it, other countries tend to plan for the worst case, reading the trend. The last remaining major nuclear arms control treaty between the United States and Russia, New START, is expiring in February 2026. US says any next framework must include China. Beijing has shown no interest, arguing its stockpile is much smaller, so it should not be locked into the same kind of limits. The result is a global system with weaker trust and more guesswork. On top of the construction, there's another charge that adds to the distrust. US officials have alleged China carried out a yield-producing nuclear explosive tests at Lopnur in Xinjiang on June 22, 2020. The claim says decoupling methods may have been used to reduce deduction signals. China has dismissed accusations of violating the test moratorium, and the strength of the evidence is still debated amongst experts. China signed the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty in 1996, but has not ratified it. That leaves room for political accusations to flare up fast, even when verification is contested. The allegation also draws attention in India, because the claimed test date came just days after the Galwan Valley clash. It feeds concern about multi-domain signaling when tensions rise. For the United States, the worry is whether a more modern and survivable arsenal could change China's choices during a crisis, especially one linked to Taiwan. A former Pentagon official says Beijing may want to feel protected from nuclear pressure by the US during a conflict. For India, the concern is a widening capability gap. Reporting and strategic analysis suggests New Delhi has focused on credibility and survivability rather than a simple numbers race, including canistrized missiles, sea-based deterrence and exploring MIRV capability, while debates over no first use continue in the background. Even with high-quality satellite imagery, the intent is hard to prove. We can see expansion but cannot confirm warhead output just from overhead images. Some upgrades might be safety improvements, while others could support modifications for newer delivery systems, including submarine-launched missiles. While expansion is visible, secrecy is intact.
With that, it's time for us to head into a very short break. We'll be right back on the other side with more from Tamil Nadu. It's an interesting year because election year, but we're also going to be hearing a host of announcements in the interim budget that is set to be announced today itself. So more details in just a bit.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The India AI Summit of 2026 kicked off yesterday with Prime Minister Modi inaugurating the India AI Impact Expo at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. The 5-day summit from February 16th to the February 20th brings together 100 plus countries, 20 world leaders, including the French President Emmanuel Macron, Lula da Silva, and tech giants like Sundar Pichai and Sam Altman. 13 country pavilions showcase AI collaboration, including France, Germany, Japan, and Africa. Over 2.5 lakh visitors are expected, with 500 plus sessions and 3,250 plus speakers for the discussion on AI's impact on people, planet, and the progress. Now, themes include responsible AI, ethical governance, bringing global north-south gaps. The expo opens to public on February 17th, that is today. Take a look.
We as a country believe in IP rights. We as a country believe in the creators, the value that the creators have brought in, either through their content or through their different ways of expressing themselves, different ways of telling the story. In fact, that is one of the reasons our country hosts a large number of global capability centers, which are basically serving a very large number of global corporations. That's primarily because we respect IP as a country. Given that, the challenges between AI and copyright are very, very complex, and we are in this summit looking at some sort of consensus on this, because if the creators get a chance to deploy their skills, protect their copyrights, protect the fruits of their creative energy, then the growth between today and tomorrow will be very high. Then AI can be used as a tool. AI doesn't become a competitor to human creativity. And we believe that human creativity is the most important thing that we have in our entire civilization. So we must protect it. We must make sure that any system which protects human creativity and enhances it is a better system. There shouldn't be a dilutive effect. There should be more of a complementing effect on the human creativity. On the job creation and on the entire talent pipeline, as you know, during WAVES, we announced the creation of Indian Institute of Creative Technologies, IICT. Immediately after the WAVES summit, we inaugurated the first campus within a couple of months itself, we inaugurated the first campus. And the feedback that I'm getting from many of the industry participants is, it has today some of the most advanced laboratories in the entire world. Three labs which are there in the IICT campus. Probably many of the developed countries would be looking at that as a benchmark, is what the industry says. I'm not saying that. It's what the industry says. So this is good. This is good progress, but this is just a beginning. This is just a beginning. The main campus construction has started already. And simultaneously in this budget, we have also announced content creators labs in 15,000 schools and colleges. So that's going to be spread out throughout the country. We have a hugely creative diversity in our country. People in so many different languages, when they tell their stories, the rich culture emerges out of that in a way, in its own vibrant way. So throughout the country, we'll be opening these content creators labs. We of course have partnerships with the entire industry. And like what we did in semiconductors, where we have world's best tools are now available to the students in 315 universities. And like what we did in telecom, where 100 universities have world's best 5G labs. So similar stuff we are going to do here, where the students will get access to world's best tools, so that this entire pipeline keeps getting updated, keeps getting broader, the talent pipeline, and the people who are already working in the industry, they get an opportunity to upskill themselves.
India is now trying to position itself as a bridge between the global north and between the global south. Your thoughts on it?
Well, I absolutely embrace that.
Yeah.
India is a wonderful country, a fantastic economy, and one that is open and ambitious in terms of growing for the future. So it's only fitting that India would host this in terms of building that global connection. AI is here and it's here to stay, and we're ambitious from a European and Irish perspective to work with other countries and like-minded countries to see how we can collaborate. It's on the back of the free trade agreement as well, and we look forward to seeing what comes out of the summit, but also ensuring that AI is an inclusive, safe tool in terms of its future use, and that's a priority for the Irish government, I know, for the European Union as well.
Prime Minister Modi has largely been focusing on AI in education, healthcare, agriculture, so that it could reach to the last man standing in line. How do you look at this approach of Prime Minister Modi?
Well, actually, we share some of the objectives around that. So I'm a Minister for Public Services and also for digitalisation in terms of our economy. And one thing we are trying to reference and prioritise.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned. Let's quickly talk about the DMK's plans in place today. The government is set to present the Tamil Nadu interim budget. Very interesting, given this is election year in the state, so politically significant exercise indeed.
Right, and this will be the last major financial statement before the state heads into elections later this year. With polls on the horizon, expectations are of course high. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has reiterated that women's empowerment and direct financial support remain central to the government's social agenda. However, the opposition has accused the DMK of financial mismanagement, questioning how the state plans to fund welfare promises while alleging rising debt and heavy borrowings.
This also comes after Tamil Nadu Chief Minister earlier announced that 3,000 rupees have been credited in advance to women beneficiaries under the Kalainar Women's Rights Scheme, along with an additional 2,000 rupees as a summer special package. In total, M.K. Stalin deposited 5,000 rupees into the bank accounts of 1.31 crore women across the state. Now, all eyes are on whether this interim budget strikes a balance between welfare push and fiscal prudence. So that's the big focus story coming in from Tamil Nadu. Purnima Murli joins us with more details. Purnima, before we talk about the promises that will be made, tell us about expectations that people have going into the interim budget that's expected today.
Well, the interim budget will be interesting, considering Tamil Nadu is going to polls within the next 2 months, and a lot of these welfare schemes have benefited a lot of people in the state, and therefore the interim budget will be important. Top sources from the government say that there won't be any new announcements, but there could well be an expansion in terms of the current schemes, like you were talking about women getting 1,000 rupees per month scheme. That could well increase. Right now, 1.31 crore women are beneficiaries. That number could perhaps increase. And then there has also been free bus passes for women and for senior citizens, even that could increase. So free bus passes are something that the government had introduced after it came to power in 2021. So that could also increase. Initially, Tamil Nadu was known for the noon meal scheme. Then they increased it to the breakfast scheme as well. So all government school children will be provided breakfast and lunch. So there could be some development on that front. So a lot of these welfare schemes could well see an expansion in terms of the interim budget. So at 9:30 is when the interim budget will be read out. All eyes on that. But this at a time when Tamil Nadu is going to polls and the DMK is also trying to increase its welfare schemes to larger vote bank.
Absolutely, Purnima. Now, as we mentioned earlier, this may just be the last-ditch effort before going to polls. How do you think the DMK is going to be able to mobilize its base, and what are some of the things that they're expected to focus on?
Well, the budget could focus on the women vote bank. Remember earlier last week as well when the Tamil Nadu government had announced 5,000 rupees for 1.31 crore women voters in Tamil Nadu. That itself, many said, is an appeasement politics, especially to woo the women vote bank. So a large chunk of the focus could well be on the women voters of Tamil Nadu and also the student population, though the first-time voters, because there have been speculations about first-time voters maybe also exploring the possibility of TVK, and a lot of these first-time voters and youth in favor of TVK. So there could be a focus on that segment as well, first-time voters in the student community. So these are primarily the larger focus in today's budget. It's only going to be an expansion. No new announcement is what top sources have told us. So at 9:30, when the budget will be read out, we will know. But primarily women and student focus is what we are given to understand.
All right. Well, Purnima, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Of course, there's going to be a lot more to discuss through the course of the day as well.
Let's shift our focus now to the other story we're tracking, post-poll politics in Telangana. And it's almost mirroring trends earlier seen in states like Maharashtra, where rival parties are joining hands after municipal election results.
This, of course, to secure power despite fierce pre-poll battles. Congress has formed alliances with the Bharatiya Janata Party, All India Majlis-e-Ittehadul Muslimin and Bharat Rashtra Samiti in different civic bodies, sharing mayoral and deputy mayoral posts. Remember, we'd seen a lot of uproar over that as well earlier. However, alliance talks have failed in nearly 11 municipalities, delaying leadership formation. Many describe these arrangements as political opportunism, while party leaders defend them as necessary for stable governance and public welfare. All right, for more on this, we have Rohini Swami live with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Rohini. Good morning to you. What's your assessment and what are you expecting?
Very good morning to you as well. See, this is a very interesting election that is being seen. And if I may say so, a lot of them who have been speaking on the ground and political analysts also saying unholy alliance is taking place. Where at a time when you actually see the BJP and the Congress fighting each other tooth and nail, here you have in these municipalities and the corporations that you actually see the BJP and Congress joining hands to push out the BRS, which was the ruling power earlier. But this is also being seen as a referendum in favor of Revant Reddy's policies, especially his free bus schemes and his crop loan waivers that he's given the farmers amongst them. But let's just break it down quickly. 86 municipalities is where the Congress, out of 106 that they have swept through. And in the corporations, out of the 7 corporations, the Congress has taken over 6 out of 7. The one that goes through is to the BJP, and that also is an interesting way it has happened. But out of the 6 that we're talking about, the Congress has on its own won 5 corporations, and one of them along with an alliance with AIMIM. Now, this itself clearly shows how, in terms of, when they say in politics that you have all kinds of alliances that take place for power, this is exactly what we're seeing on the ground. Now, if you break it down in terms of how these alliances were taking place, there was a lot of resort politics and keeping leaders within themselves, money power to control corporations, because that is where the real power lies, especially for the leaders, and also in terms of the money spent to keep the leaders in the party or even buy out leaders. So we saw all kinds of horse trading that took place, interesting alliances that took place. And quickly, if I can just tell you that the BRS won only in 17 municipalities, while the BJP has won the Karimnagar Municipal Corporation. Now, why I mentioned these two? BRS says that at a point of time when the BJP and Congress talk about each other, saying that you're absolute opposition, be in the center, be it in various states, here at the ground level, you have got together to try and push out the BRS, who was in power for nearly 10 years for 2 decades here, right? But their performance is something that they're quite upset about, and they're more upset about these alliances. But on the other hand, the Congress, and especially under the leadership of the Chief Minister, Mr. Revanth Reddy, what we're seeing is how, along with AIMM and the BJP leaders, they've got together to capture the various corporations and municipalities.
Okay, very quickly, why was the need felt to do this, Rohini? Why did the Congress, despite sweeping the local body elections, feel the need to team up with its rivals? It's being called an unholy alliance, an alliance of convenience, but also really, really odd to begin with.
Well, the key word is power, and the key word is just governance through power. And that's why anything is possible in politics. And this is a classic example of anything can happen, where you also go to bed with your rivals as well. So clearly this reason is not only about sweeping, but it is also about trying to do away, or rather reduce the BRS, if possible, to a zero. The effort was there, but well, that was not seen, because you have that kind of ground feel. You have to remember that Telangana as a state was also formed because of the movement that we saw for Telangana. It was also spearheaded largely under Chandrasekhar Rao, later saying that he is the man who brought Telangana, right? Split between United Andhra and Telangana. But let me quickly tell you one more point, that 11 municipalities are yet to see elections of their municipal heads, because there were 35 seats that was hung. And it is these hung seats where the swing factor was important. The Congress stepped in, the Chief Minister personally monitoring this, and that's why we're seeing these unholy alliances that comes to bring them back to power.
All right.
And we are waiting for the State Election Commission to declare for the proceedings to take place in these 11 municipalities as well.
All right, Rohini, thank you so much for summing this up for us. Of course, we'll continue to track all the developments on that front as well. All right, and with that, we're going to slip into a very short break. But don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The India AI Summit of 2026 kicked off yesterday with Prime Minister Modi inaugurating the India AI Impact Expo at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. The 5-day summit from February 16th to the February 20th brings together 100+ countries, 20 world leaders, including the French President Emmanuel Macron, Lula da Silva, and tech giants like Sundar Pichai and Sam Altman. 13 country pavilions showcase AI collaboration, including France, Germany, Japan, and Africa. Over 2.5 lakh visitors are expected, with 500+ sessions and 3,250+ speakers for the discussion on AI's impact on people, planet, and the progress. Now, themes include responsible AI, ethical governance, bringing global north-south gaps. The expo opens to public on February 17th. That is today. Take a look.
We as a country believe in IP rights. We as a country believe in the creators, the value that the creators have brought in, either through their content or through their different ways of expressing themselves, different ways of telling the story. In fact, that is one of the reasons our country hosts a large number of global capability centers, which are basically serving a very large number of global corporations. That's primarily because we respect IP as a country. Given that, the challenges between AI and copyright are very, very complex, and we are in this summit looking at some sort of consensus on this, because if the creators get a chance to deploy their skills, protect their copyrights, protect the fruits of their creative energy, then the growth between today and tomorrow will be very high. Then AI can be used as a tool. AI doesn't become a competitor to human creativity. And we believe that human creativity is the most important thing that we have in our entire civilization. So we must protect it. We must make sure that any system which protects human creativity and enhances it is a better system. There shouldn't be a dilutive effect. There should be more of a complementing effect on the human creativity. On the job creation and on the entire talent pipeline, as you know, during WAVES, we announced the creation of Indian Institute of Creative Technologies, IICT. Immediately after the WAVES summit, we inaugurated the first campus within within a couple of months itself, we inaugurated the first campus. And the feedback that I'm getting from many of the industry participants is, it has today some of the most advanced laboratories in the entire world. Three labs which are there in the IICT campus. Probably many of the developed countries would be looking at that as a benchmark, is what the industry says. I'm not saying that. It's what the industry says. So this...
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We return with a breaking news update that's coming from Karnataka. This is a minister making a street dog comment. So this is a street dog analogy which has been spoken of by a minister for his fellow MLAs and has triggered fresh speculation around the reported leadership tussle in the Congress government. Social Welfare Minister H.C. Mahadevappa allegedly called his colleagues in the Congress street dogs when he was asked about leadership change in the state in reference to an internal power tussle between Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and his deputy D.K. Shivkumar. In fact, Mahadevappa, known to be close to Siddaramaiah, apparently responded to the media saying the High Court has said catch the street dogs and cage them. Listen in first up.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಯಕತ್ವದ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಇಲ್ರಿ ಇದೆ. ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟು ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ಬೀದಿ ನಾಯಿಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಡಿದು ಒಳಗಾಕಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ನಾಯಕತ್ವ ಗಟ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ನೀವ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಯಕ ಹೇಳೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇವರು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು. ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ನೀವೇ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾ ಹೇಳಿದನ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡೋರು ಯಾರು? ನಾನು ನೀವು ಕೊಡಕ್ಕಂತ ಅವರು ನಮಗ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಬಾಲನೇ ನಾಯಿ ಅಲ್ಲಾಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ.
All right, for more on this, we have Afreen Hussain live with us. Afreen, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. How much more of this breadcrumbing are we going to see, Afreen? They try to put up a united front, but then we see such statements and comments.
A very good morning to you and our viewers as well. Well, this long festering power tussle between Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and his deputy D.K. Shivkumar comes back haunting the Congress in Karnataka, and now these remarks made by Social Welfare Minister H.C. Mahadevappa can be seen as a wheeled jab at the D.K. Shivkumar camp and his MLAs that are backing him in this power play. Remember that H.C. Mahadevappa is said to be close to Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. He's rubbished reports of Siddaramaiah's premature exit and has gone on to reaffirm that the leadership here is strong. And he's made this one comment that has raised eyebrows, where he says that the High Court has said catch all the stray dogs and put them aside. Now it's being seen as a wheeled jab at D.K. Shivkumar and his camp MLAs who are constantly asking for an intervention from the Congress High Command about the leadership change in Karnataka. And H.C. Mahadevappa, who's said to be close to Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, has reiterated that the leadership in Karnataka is strong and there is no doubt about it. And he's also said that he's also asked, can you or I give instructions to the Congress High Command? It is the Congress High Command that needs to give instructions to us. It's the dog, wags its tail and not the other way around. Now, these are some of the comments that he's made about the leadership tussle in Karnataka that have definitely raised eyebrows.
Thank you, Afreen, for joining us with those details. Let's see how that story plays out the rest of the day. For now, shifting our focus to the other story we're tracking. This is a case of deadly apathy and it's claimed a toddler's life, unfortunately. Let's talk about this update coming in from Bengaluru's Mahadevpura. A 2-year-old was tragically killed, sparking widespread public anger. And the incident occurred on the Haleahalli road, where road repairs have been ongoing for the past 6 months.
Now, the toddler was returning home from a temple with his cousins when a speeding car ran over him. Locals say poorly managed and unscientific roadwork caused the fatal sequence of events. This tragedy, it's ignited calls yet again for accountability, serving as yet another grim reminder of the dangers posed by unsafe roads in cities across the nation.
A 2-year-old child lost his life on this very stretch of road in Bengaluru's KR and locals allege that this particular stretch of road has already claimed 5 lives in 6 months. You can look at the condition of this road. I am reporting from Halehalli Road, where on the evening of 15th February at around 5:30 p.m. tragedy struck. 2-year-old Trishal was returning with his parents after visiting a temple. He was seated in the front of their bike when the two-wheeler allegedly skidded on the damaged road. The child fell onto the ground and in a horrifying turn of events, another car ran over him and he died on the spot. Residents here squarely blame the poor condition of the road. They say repair works have been dragging on for months and despite repeated complaints, no permanent solution was provided. Hundreds gathered here holding the child's photograph today, blocking the road and demanding justice. Protesters allege that authorities failed to act despite multiple warnings. The Panchayat Secretary has, however, clarified that the roadwork is being carried out by the Public Works Department and not the Panchayat, adding that officials have promised to visit the spot and that repair works will begin soon. You can look at the condition of the road. It is extremely difficult for two-wheelers to move around here. You can see a lot of two-wheelers carrying children. There are schools nearby, there are sports academies nearby, and most of them who are traveling on this road are parents taking their children to and fro from schools and from cricket academy, sports academy, etc. You can see there is this particular road, there is so much mud and stones, there is no proper asphalting of the road done here. And that's why, you know, it is very easily probable for two-wheelers to skid here, and that is what has happened in the case of Trishal as well, where his parents' bike skid on this road and he fell onto the ground. Now, after the assurances given, the protesters have backed off, but they say that their protest for justice and accountability will continue here.
Let's go over to Afreen once again. Afreen, you spoke about protests that have been planned. So tell us a little bit about the citizens' movement. We also saw in your report that people have, largely residing in this area, have complained about this stretch, the kind of repair work that had been ongoing for the longest time. Why was no change seen on ground? What more do you know?
Well, Christine, the locals allege that this particular accident has definitely happened because of the conditions of the road, and they've said that they have approached authorities before as well, repeatedly complained to the authorities and given them warnings about, the accidents that are happening. The locals also allege that 5 lives have been lost in the past 6 months on that particular stretch of road in Halehalli. It comes under Madhevpura, and locals yesterday also protested, holding the child's photograph, a 2-year-old child, innocent life lost because of the bad condition of the road. The protesters have demanded that authorities take up repair works as soon as possible and come up with a concrete solution. Their only complaint is that despite repeated complaints and warnings given to the authorities, they did not listen to the people, and this particular accident or this incident where a 2-year-old child lost his life is definitely to be blamed on the road conditions and the authorities not listening to the people and their complaints.
All right, Afreen, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on that. This is a pattern that's become all too familiar at this point. We'll continue to bring you all developments on that. But with that, we're going to call it a wrap on this edition.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The India AI Summit of 2026 kicked off yesterday with Prime Minister Modi inaugurating the India AI Impact Expo at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. The 5-day summit from February 16th to the February 20th brings together 100-plus countries, 20 world leaders, including the French President Emmanuel Macron, Lula da Silva, and tech giants like Sundar Pichai and Sam Altman. 13 country pavilions showcase AI collaboration, including France, Germany, Japan, and Africa. Over 2.5 lakh visitors are expected, with 500-plus sessions and 3,250-plus speakers for the discussion on AI's impact on people, planet, and the progress. Now, themes include responsible AI, ethical governance, bringing global north-south gaps. The expo opens to public on February 17th. That is today. Take a look.
We as a country believe in IP rights. We as a country believe in the creators, the value that the creators have brought in, either through their content or through their different ways of expressing themselves, different ways of telling the story. In fact, that is one of the reasons our country hosts a large number of global capability centers, which are basically serving a very large number of global corporations. That's primarily because we respect IP as a country. Given that, the challenges between AI and copyright are very, very complex, and we are in this summit looking at some sort of consensus on this, because if the creators get a chance to deploy their skills, protect their copyrights, protect the fruits of their creative energy, then the growth between today and tomorrow will be very high. Then AI can be used as a tool. AI doesn't become a competitor to human creativity. And we believe that human creativity is the most important thing that we have in our entire civilization. So we must protect it. We must make sure that any system which protects human creativity and enhances it is a better system. There shouldn't be a dilutive effect. There should be more of a complementing effect on the human creativity. On the job creation and on the entire talent pipeline, as you know, during WAVES, we announced the creation of Indian Institute of Creative Technologies, IICT. Immediately after the WAVES summit, we inaugurated the first campus within a couple of months itself, we inaugurated the first campus. And the feedback that I'm getting from many of the industry participants is, it has today some of the most advanced laboratories in the entire world. Three labs which are there in the IICT campus. Probably many of the developed countries would be looking at that as a benchmark.
Good morning and a very warm welcome. Thanks for staying tuned to CNN News 18. I'm Prithween Walia, and here are the top headlines we're tracking at 9 this morning. Prime Minister Modi inaugurates the India AI Impact Expo with over 600 startups, says Expo highlights India's AI potential, innovation strength and commitment to shaping global solutions together. President Macron arrives in Mumbai for a 3-day India visit to meet Prime Minister Modi to deepen strategic partnership, boost AI and defence ties and inaugurate Year of Innovation 2026. Tamil Nadu government to present interim budget ahead of elections, focus on women's welfare, youth employment, education and infrastructure. After a fiercely fought election, parties strike secret deals from post-poll alliances for key posts, Congress allies with MIM, BJP and even BRS for key posts in cooperation. Amid power tussle in Karnataka, Minister H.C. Mahadevappa sparks controversy with bizarre dog analogy, urges High Command intervention amid escalating row. Bhupen Bora resigns from Assam Congress, citing Gaurav Gogoi's alleged Pakistan links and failure to clarify, accuses leadership of damaging party's credibility and public image. Mother mourns 23-year-old son Sahil, claims he was killed by minor performing SUV stunts in Dwarka. Juvenile driver secures interim bail for Class 10 board exams. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla represents India at Tariq Rahman's swearing in as Bangladesh's new Prime Minister, marking a potential diplomatic reset between Delhi and Dhaka. The DMK government is set to present Tamil Nadu interim budget today, a politically significant exercise as it will be the last major financial statement before the state heads into elections later this year. With polls on the horizon, expectations are high. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has reiterated that women's empowerment and direct financial support remains central to the government's social agenda. However, the opposition has accused DMK of financial mismanagement, questioning how the state plans to fund welfare promises while alleging rising debt and heavy borrowings. This also comes after Tamil Nadu Chief Minister earlier announced 3,000 rupees has been credited in advance to women beneficiaries under the Kalagnar Women's Rights Scheme, along with an additional 2,000 as a summer special package. So in total, 5,000 rupees going into the bank accounts of more than 1.3 crore women across the state. All eyes now are on whether this interim budget strikes a balance between welfare push and fiscal prudence. So that's the big focus story today. I do want to bring in Purnima Murli into the conversation. Good morning, Purnima. Women's welfare, direct sops to women is of course a key highlight, as has already been announced in the first set of announcements that have come in from the Stalin government. But sops or substance is the question we're asking. What do you think is the vision that the DMK has hinted at going into the budget announcement set to take place today?
Well, sources say that the announcements today, the interim budget will not have any new announcement, but there could well be an expansion of the current schemes that have been introduced by the DMK government. For example, 1.31 crore women have been beneficiaries of 1,000 rupees per month scheme, and that could well be extended. More women would now be brought under this scheme. Apart from that, other schemes including free bus passes for women and for senior citizens, well, there could be an expansion on that front. As far as school students are concerned, free breakfast and noon meal schemes were introduced, and there could be some expansion on that scheme as well. So the target audience or the beneficiaries would primarily be the women fraternity as well as the student fraternity, because these are a large chunk of beneficiaries that any government in Tamil